Hello everyone, Gamer Guy 7 Aces here, back with my hybrid series on hypothetical scenarios in the Sonic franchise. I apologize for not posting any in almost 3 months as I've been busy with school, work, and a stressful life. Speaking of stressful, this episode is going to be about the infamous Sonic 06. Now we all know the catastrophic history behind this game and the amount of stress Sega and Sonic team went through when developing this game, with over half the team leaving the project to work on another Sonic game that would later become Sonic and the Secret Rings, to Yuji Naka leaving Sega in the middle of the game's production, and the title being rushed for a holiday release for Sonic's 15th anniversary. It's no wonder this game came out the way it did. But this video isn't going to talk about how bad the game was received. You all already know that. I want to discuss what would have happened to the future of the Sonic franchise if Sonic 06 was received well. Now, whether you think Sonic 06 is a good or bad game, that is all subjective. I'm just talking about the objectives here, and the game was critically panned by both critics and fans. But what if the game was critically praised and hailed as the best 3D Sonic game at the time? Well, things would have been completely different now. Let's start with Sonic Team itself. Yuji Naka wouldn't have left Sega and started his new company called Probe, because the team would have managed to make a good game and not be bogged down by conflicts. And Sonic Team wouldn't have split to make Sonic and the Secret Rings. I don't think that game would have even existed, as all the focus would have been on making Sonic 06 the best possible game. Therefore, there would be no storybook series or Black Knight 3 years later. If they still happened, it would have been under very different circumstances. As for Sonic 06 itself, the game would be exactly the same it is today. No changes or anything, except that there wouldn't be any bugs, game-breaking glitches, long loading screens, or weird in-game cutscene voice dubbing syncs. After the game gets 9s and 10s from IGN, G4, and critics alike, the next Sonic game would definitely be Sonic Adventure 3, and that would have been Sonic Unleashed. Oh yes, that game was originally intended to be the third installment of the Sonic Adventure series, not Sonic 06. But the development team began to introduce enough new innovations to separate it from the Sonic Adventure titles, and so the idea was dropped. The main reason for this was the bad reception of Sonic 06, which borrowed heavily from adventure elements. So Sega wanted to go with a formula that worked well for Sonic at the time, and that was the Rush series on the handheld systems. So Sega implemented the boost gameplay for Sonic Unleashed with 2D sections like in Sonic Rush. But in an alternate timeline where Sonic 06 would have succeeded, Sonic Unleashed, or Sonic Adventure 3, would be a true sequel to SA2, with 100% 3D and no 2D sections. And I doubt we would have gotten the boost gameplay. I think it would have taken the Mach Speed sections from Sonic 06 and evolved that. Also, Knuckles and Shadow were originally going to be in Unleashed, but were axed in favor of keeping the cast smaller to just Sonic, Tails, and Amy. If Sonic 06 was good, Knuckles and Shadow would definitely be in this game, and maybe some new characters too, as it was tradition for Sega to introduce new playable characters. I highly doubt we would have gotten the Werehog gameplay, because the only reason that exists was to pad out the game since the boost gameplay made the game short. If Unleashed was SA3, this wouldn't be an issue, as there would already be multiple gameplay styles with Sonic's friends. In short, Sonic Adventure 3 would have been a very different game than Unleashed, and may have even surpassed Sonic 06. And the next game to follow would definitely not be Sonic Colors. 2010 to the present was when Sega started bringing more nostalgia to their Sonic games, from Sonic the Hedgehog 4 to Sonic Colors, Generations, Lost World, etc. None of this would have happened if 06 succeeded. Sonic Colors would be so different, even I don't know what it would be. But we all should know that Colors derived from Unleashed, as Sega took what did work with audiences, which was the daytime stages, and brought that to Colors, with an even stronger emphasis on 2D. Iizuka also added the idea of wisps to completely remove playing as Sonic's friends, as the focus would be more on Sonic but have variety. If 06 was good, this wouldn't even be the case. I like to think that instead of a Sonic Colors game, we would have gotten a Silver standalone game instead. Following the patterns of before, after Sonic Adventure 2, there was one more game that came out, which was Sonic Heroes, before Shadow's standalone game. So in this alternate reality, after Silver's introduction to Sonic 06, he would have his own game after Sonic Adventure 3, simply titled Silver the Hedgehog. Like, come on, we all knew Sega totally would have made a Silver standalone game if he was received well in 06. It was just waiting to happen. There would be no Sonic the Hedgehog 4, as at this time, companies like Sega used to think that putting classic nostalgia in games were bland and a bad marketing move. So we wouldn't even get a Sonic Generations either. it would have been an even newer anniversary title, which would introduce another new character. I honestly can't predict what it would be, since everything from colors on up are influenced by nostalgia, which was a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that we got great titles like Generations, Mania, and etc. But the bad things were games like Sonic 4 or games that were split like Lost World. But I'd like to think that Sonic Lost World would have been a legit crossover game between Sonic and Mario in this alternate reality, for a couple of reasons. The first being that Sonic would have been an established and well-loved 3D franchise that an actual platformer crossover with him and Mario would be more than likely, as both Sega and Nintendo would want to cash in, and Nintendo would be welcoming of another successful franchise that was once a former rival. I think the reason we've never gotten a real crossover instead of the Olympic Games is because they haven't figured out how to make one, especially with Sonic's boost gameplay these days. A game with him and Mario would be so jarring. Maybe Sega tried to test it out with Sonic Lost World, since that's very Mario Galaxy inspired, but that turned out to be a very mixed game with the audience. So we'll never know. But I definitely can tell you this: there would be no Sonic Boom whatsoever. We'd still most likely get the TV show, but not the video games. The whole reason why the video games existed was because Sega wanted a new spin-off for Sonic that would appeal to the Western market and kids. But if Sonic games were already well received after 06, there would be no need for Boom video games. Instead, we'd have a revival of different spin-off games that were attempted in the past, like Sonic Shuffle, Sonic Chronicles, and etc. Sonic might have been the second Mario, with several successful spin-offs. Who knows? But the future would have looked extremely different for Sega had Sonic 06 been a success. Nevertheless, in a twisted way, I'm kind of glad that 06 wasn't a critical success, because I was already alienated from the Sonic franchise by the time 06 came out, and I didn't get back to the series until Unleashed. So I honestly don't know if I'd still be a fan, as Sega would have jumped the shark with me in the series. If everyone loved 06's story and was perfectly fine with Elise's relationship with Sonic, who knows what Sega would have done with the Blue Blur in the future. But anyway, there would be no classic Sonic, or Sonic Mania, or Christian Whitehead, T-Lopes, or any of that. Whitehead might have just been a normal classic Sonic fan, making fan games for us to play on the PC. And that is just sad to think about. So I don't really know how classic Sonic fans would respond to the series. It's a very tantalizing topic to discuss, and I know I've only scratched the surface. There's a number of factors that would have been affected had Sonic 06 been good, from the dev team to Sonic's Twitter becoming more self-aware and using memes, to the whole marketing of the franchise now. So I think this is one of those times when I can say that everything happens for a reason. But that doesn't mean that everything's all perfect now. We still have Sonic Forces to worry about. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Do you agree with my scenario, or do you disagree? And what do you think would happen if Sonic 06 performed well? Let me know down below. And be sure to share this video with your friends. But until then, I'll see you in the next episode.